Imagine accelerating your machine learning projects with an AI assistant that will save you hours and hours of work. Welcome to DigiLab Academy, your go-to destination for in-depth courses and resources to help you master the world of data science and AI. I'm Anna, and in this series, I'm going to show you how to build your own AI assistant using Streamlit and LangChain. I'll walk you through the entire process, from installing the required libraries to solve a machine learning project using AI. Make sure that you check the full written tutorial that accompanies this video in the DigiLab Academy website. You'll find the link in the video description below, plus you can download the final project and also the dataset that we will be using. Now let's break down what to expect in this video. In this project, Streamlit is the foundation for the user interface, allowing you to upload CSV files, visualize data, and interact with the AI assistant. The beauty of Streamlit is its simplicity. Even if you have limited web development experience, you can create dynamic and interactive data applications. While Streamlit is beginner-friendly, it also offers customization options for those who want to create more sophisticated applications. Finally, Streamlit makes it easy to deploy your web apps to the cloud or share them with others, further enhancing its utility for collaborative data projects. We'll start by structuring the Streamlit app with titles, headings, subheadings, captions, and text formatting. Next, we'll implement dividers to segment your content, making it easier for users to navigate through your AI assistant. Uploading CSV files is essential for this data-driven app. We'll cover how to implement this. To enhance user interaction, we'll create a dynamic sidebar and expanders, and we will discuss how to display graphs for data visualization. We'll also explore text input, which allow users to interact with your AI assistant through text. Caching is a powerful technique for optimizing performance. We'll explore this topic and show how you implement it effectively. Understanding session state and implementing non-stateful buttons are key to creating responsive applications. We'll cover this in detail. Now let's shift our focus to LangChain. LangChain is a framework that can be used to build conversational AI systems that can understand and respond to user queries. Its main components are models, agents, tools, prompt templates, chains, memory, and indexes. The project integrates OpenAI's GPT-3 3.5 Turbo Large Language Model. LLMs are integrated into the Streamlit application, allowing you to have a dynamic, real-time interactions with the AI assistant. You can ask questions, seek explanations, and receive immediate responses. We'll start by setting the OpenAI key. Then we will explore how to load and use OpenAI large language models to generate information, open up a world of possibilities for your AI assistant. With the Pandas agent, you can answer specific predefined questions about your data frame or any variable of your choice. I'll show you how to set this up. You can also enable your AI assistant to answer specific questions chosen by the user. What you learn here can be applied to your own data analysis problems. For example, you might want to create an assistant to help you explore sales data or customer reviews. While we'll focus on one specific use case, you can easily adapt these techniques to your unique needs. So without further ado, let's start building our AI assistant. Hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more data science adventures. Let's get started. Okay, so before we start building our AI assistant, there are two things that we need to do. First is to set the API key, and the second is to run Streamlit. To set the API key, you need an API key from OpenAI, and you need to put that into a different script in your same directory. What I've done is I created this API key file, and there, what we need to do is store our key. So here, you would put your key as a string, but in this file called API key. The reason that I'm not sharing is because this key is a secret key and it shouldn't be shared. So let's remove that and just remember that that goes to your API key script. The second is to run Streamlit. For that, what I want you to do is to open the terminal, go to your directory, and what I want you to do is to run Streamlit using this command. So that is Streamlit run and then the name of your Python script where you're gonna write the code for the AI assistant. And just press enter, and what's gonna happen is that a new window is gonna pop up in your browser, and there's where we're gonna see your app. Now we're gonna import the packages that are gonna provide the necessary functionality for our project. The packages that we're gonna import are OS, API key, LangChain, .m, Streamlit, and Pandas. So let's write that down. Okay, I'm going to close the Explorer so we can see the code better. So as you can see, we have imported the required libraries. So the OS library provides a way of using operating system dependent functionality. Then we have API key in order to load our API key correctly. Then Streamlit, that is the heart of our project really. Then Pandas library, fundamental for data manipulation and visualization. This we have the package LangChain, which is specific to our project, and that incorporates OpenAI large language models that is going to allow us to interact with the AI assistant. And then we have .m, very important package to make sure that sensitive information such as the API key is securely stored. Okay, so now we're going to start building the user interface a little, and I'm going to show you how to add titles, subtitles, headings, and other stuff that is going to make the user experience a little bit more engaging. So first of all, we want our AI assistant to have a title, and also we want to have a welcoming message. Okay, so let's write that. So in Streamlit, in order to write a title, we do st.title, and then inside of the brackets, we write the title that we want to add to our app. So I'm going to call it AI assistant for data science, and I'm actually going to capitalize that. Let's add a header now. So in order to add headers in Streamlit is just st.header. And we're going to add, for example, exploratory data analysis part. If we want to write a subheader, it's just st.subheader. So let's say, for example, solution. Okay, as you can see, nothing appears on the app, and in order to see what we've written, then we need to click rerun. So let's do that and let's see what happens. So this is running, and you can see, and now the title appears, and we have here the header and the subheader as well. As I said, we want to write a welcoming message. So for that, we're going to just use plain text. In order to do that in Streamlit, we use st.write. So let's write for now just welcoming message and see what happens when we rerun. So we rerun and it appears here. So I'm gonna write something along the lines of, hello, I'm your AI assistant and I'm here to assist you with your machine learning projects. So let's write something like that. So okay, so let's see what happens when we run. Okay, so now our placeholder for the welcoming message has been populated, and now we have, hello, I'm your AI assistant and I'm here to help you with your data science projects. I'm going to move the header and the subheader after the welcoming message. To enhance user experience, something that we can do is add a sidebar on the side of our application, and to do that we can use with st sidebar. So I think something interesting that we can put in the sidebar is an explanation of what the user can expect from the app. For that, what I'm going to do is to write a text, so using st.write, that will appear in the sidebar, so it needs to be within the with statement. So let's write that. So your data science adventure begins with a CSV file. And now I'm going to add some extra text. Okay, and I'm going to add that to make sure that this is actually a string. Okay, let's rerun. Okay, so as you can see, this has appeared here. Let's click. And this is our sidebar with our text in the sidebar, giving a little bit of explanation of what the user can expect from the app. We have your data science adventure begins with a CSV file. You may already know that every exciting data science journey starts with a data set. That's why I would love for you to upload a CSV file. Once we have your data in hand, we'll dive into understanding it and have some fun exploring it. Then we'll work together to shape your business challenge into a data science framework, and I'll introduce you to the coolest machine learning models and we'll use them to tackle your problem. Sounds fun, right? This looks alright like this, but we can make it a little bit better, a little bit more visually appealing. So what we're gonna do is use some text formatting to make this look a little bit more organized. So first of all, let's split the first sentence into a title, and then the rest is going to be the text. But instead of using titles and write, we're gonna use write and caption. So caption is used more for footnotes, to add the text to images and things like that. But just because I like the formatting of this particular way of writing text, I'm just gonna use it for this. So let's do that. I'm gonna leave that in write, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write st.caption and then add this in brackets. So let's run and see what is happening. Brilliant. So now we have a small title at the beginning and then the text. I'm gonna write this here. That is better. Perfect. Something that we can do is add bold text and italics, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So if we write here an asterisk, and here another asterisk at the end of our string, and here we add a double asterisk, when we run, we're going to see that the first sentence is now going to be italics and the rest is going to be bold. So that means that, as you can see, if we want to write text in bold, we use double asterisk, and if we want to write text in italics, we write just one asterisk. Okay, let's continue talking about formatting and the appearance of our app. I think it would be cool if we could add a little line here, and we can achieve that by using dividers. So in Streamlit, in order to add dividers, we can use command st.divider. So just as this, if we run, we will see that this line has appeared here. And finally, something that I would like to add is just to say that I made this app. So I'm gonna use caption. Okay, and if we run, we're gonna see that that appears here. I think it would look better if we could make that centered. Luckily in Streamlit we can use HTML in order to further format our text, and that is what I'm going to do now in order to make this text move to the center. And we need to add another parameter, which is this one. The default is set to false, but in order to make the HTML work, we need to set that to true. So let's do that. Okay, and when that is done, we can rerun this. And there you can see that it has been centered. There are other things that we can add to our application. Something that is quite interesting is expanders. So let's see how to do that. With st.expander, so inside of the expander, we're just gonna write some placeholder text, and let's run and see what happens. So as you can see, this has appeared here, so the user can click and then it can decide if they want to look at that information or not. Something that we can also add are emojis just to make it a little bit more fun. So I'm just gonna add a couple there. Okay, let's rerun and see what happens. So now the emojis have appeared on the screen. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to add a button and how to manage what is called session state. So in order to add a button in Streamlit, and I'm going to add it just before the header, is as easy as this. So, it's with st. button, but because we want to trigger an action, we're going to add an if statement. So if st.button, let's get started. So when the user clicks the button, then this is going to happen. I'm going to move that there, and in fact, let me just move all of this after the sidebar. Okay, so let's rerun. And we can see that now this button appears here. When we click, then we have the header and the subheader. So let's continue building our app, and I'll show you in a second why session state is so important. As we said in the explanation, your data science adventure begins with a CSV file. So now I'm going to show you how to integrate a CSV uploader into your application. Streamlit provides a convenient function called st.fileUploader for adding file uploads in your application. So it's as simple as adding the following. So after the button, we are going to add the following. And then we need to specify the type of file that we want the user to upload. So in this case, it's going to be a CSV file. Oh, sorry, this isn't equal. Right, let's rerun. Okay, so now you can see that that appears there. Let's try it out. Okay, so this is the data set that I'm going to use. It's a Twitter stock market data. I'm gonna upload this, and this appears here. Great. But we would like this to appear after we click the Let's Get Started button. So we're just gonna move this, and let's rerun. So now we click, these headers appear here, and then we have the file uploader. We click, we select our file, but boom, it disappears. Okay, so it turns out that buttons are non-stateful, and that means that buttons return true only momentarily during the page load immediately after their click, and then they revert to false. So in order to work around this, Streamlit allows you to use session state, which is essential for maintaining information and interactions between different sections of your application. So I'm going to show you how to implement this with the button that we have in our application. So first of all, what we need to do is to initialize the key in the session state. So following the notation that we've used for the if statement, I'm going to create this function called collect. And finally, what we need to do is to modify our button. And then under this if statement, then we can add the CSV uploader. So let's rerun, see what happens. Okay, so now we click, disappears, browse file, choose our file, we upload, and nothing disappears. So we have fixed this problem using session state. Okay, so now that the users can upload their CSV files, it's time to convert the uploaded file into a Pandas data frame, which is the standard data structure for data manipulation and analysis in Python. So for that, what we're going to do is, after the user uploads the file, what we're going to say is, if the user CSV file actually exists, we're going to transform that into a data frame. Also, what we're going to do is to say the low memory to false, just because the default is to actually optimize memory, but just in case the file is really large, we're just going to set that to false. Also, what we're going to do is to ensure that the file pointer is at the start of the file, just in case. So let's write all that down. So that ensures that the file pointer is at the start of the file. And then we're going to transform this into a data frame. Okay, and now the data frame is now ready for analysis and exploration. Our AI assistant relies on large language models to provide natural language understanding and generate responses. In this subsection, what we're going to cover is how to load and initialize the LLM model for your Streamlit application. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to create an instance of the LLM model, and also we're going to set the temperature parameter to 0. What does that mean? Well, the temperature, what it does, it controls the randomness of the model. So the higher the temperature, the more creative your model is going to be. So for this particular project, we're gonna let the temperature be low in order to make the responses a little bit more deterministic. So let's write that down. So we create an instance of the model. We're gonna call it LLM. And then we're gonna set the temperature to 0. So first thing we're going to use our model for is to generate some information, and we're going to add that to the sidebar. So I think it would be interesting if we could add some information about what is the steps of the EDA are, and we add that into the sidebar. And if the user wants to look at it because it finds it useful, just need to click and the information will expand. So let's do that. So I'm going to move our LLM model first here. And then what we're gonna do is in the expander, what are the steps of EDA? And what it's going to write now is the steps of the EDA, but we're not gonna manually type it down. The LLM is gonna give us this information. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're gonna say, okay, LLM, and then we're gonna ask the same. What are the steps of EDA? So let's rerun. Okay, so very important, we need to add the OpenAI key. So let's do that very quickly. So we're gonna add it here after we have imported the required packages. And also something that we need to do is to load the dot environment, just to make sure that the variables are correctly read. Let's do that. Okay, so what we're gonna do, and you'll see why later, is we're gonna move this at the very end, and we're gonna add another with st.sidebar. Oh, and I saw another error, so that should be like that. Right, let's rerun. We're gonna browse the file, upload. It's running, and let's check the sidebar. So we have the expander here, and if we click, we can see that the LLM has generated the steps of the EDA. In this subsection, what we're going to do is we're going to cover how to create a Pandas agent and enable it to analyze and provide insights about the data. So first of all, what we need to do is to create an instance of the Pandas agent by passing our LLM model and the data frame that we want to analyze. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is, so here we have Pandas agent, and then we use the create pandas data frame agent, and we're going to pass the LLM, and we are also going to pass the data frame, and we're going to set the rows to true. The default is false, and that's just to see the train of thought of the agent. So first thing we're going to use our Pandas agent for is to answer specific questions about the data. So for example, let's create a question that is, what is the meaning of the columns? And now what we're going to do is to create a variable that is going to be called columns meaning, for example, that is going to be the response of our Pandas agent. So for that, we need to say, okay, pandas agent dot run, and then we're going to pass the question. Okay, so now we want to see the output in our application. So we write st.write, and we're going to write there columns meaning. Let's rerun. Cool. So the columns represent the date, opening price, highest price, lowest price, closing price, adjust closing price, and volume of the stock. So our Pandas agent is able to answer this predefined question that we have passed through it. So what we're going to do now is to create a function with certain predefined questions. So when we run these functions, all these questions will be answered by the Pandas agent. So the type of questions that we're going to ask are very general EDA questions. So for example, how do the rows of the dataset look like? As I said, what are the meaning of the columns? How many missing values do we have? Are any duplicate values? A little bit about data summarization, and even a little bit of feature engineering. So we're going to ask the Pandas agent if there are any new features that it would be interesting to create. So let's write down this function. So we're going to leave the Pandas agent outside, and then I'll just remove this for now, and we'll just create a function that's going to be function agent, and we're going to use the Pandas to generate the Pandas agent to generate all the answers of these questions. Okay, so having written our function down, let's call the function and then let's rerun the app and let's see what happens. Okay, we rerun. Okay, so this has appeared here, so we can see how the first rows of our dataset look like. Then we have the meaning of the columns, we have the missing values, it's saying that there are no duplicates, information about the data summarization, correlations between variables, also what are the features that we could maybe create, and also is talking about potential layers. Okay, now imagine that the user is interested in a very specific variable, and we want the user to select the variable for further study. Well, we can do this using text input. This is a feature that Streamlit has, in where the user can actually write text in the application. Okay, so user question is going to be a text input, and we're going to ask what variable are you interested in? We're gonna run and see what happens. And as you can see, this is running again. And you would agree with me that it would be better if the information stays and it doesn't run again. Okay, so now, what variable are you interested in? Well, we haven't done anything with this, but let's say volume, enter, and again, everything reruns again. So how do we fix that? So every single time we are entering something, it doesn't run again. So we can sort this issue using caching in Streamlit. So caching is an important feature that allows you to store and reuse the results of computationally expensive functions, which improves the performance and responsiveness of our AI assistant. So we're gonna use the cache decorator to make sure that the functions are not run and run again, and we avoid the app to run everything again. So one thing appears after another. So let me show you how to do this, and we're gonna create a couple more functions and organize our script a little bit more. So first of all, what we're gonna do is we are going to move our function agent and our pandas agent earlier in the script. So there, after the LLM model. So what we're gonna do is to add functions of the main script. So here we're gonna add this function agent, and then I'm gonna move the pandas agent early on as well. So we are importing the libraries, we are setting the OpenAI key, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put there, after the OpenAI key, we are going to set the title and welcoming message. So let's write here title and then welcoming message. Okay, and after we've done that, we are going to put here the explanation sidebar. So let's grab that. So this is this part here. So we're just gonna move that. Just necessary so things work fine when we cache the functions. So yes, as I said, here's where the explanation sidebar is going to be. And then we are going to move the button after this. So this is all about the button. We really don't want, so we don't want the header and the subheader there. We will use it later for the sections that we are created. So we are going to move all this. Yes, after the sidebar. So yes, we have the explanation sidebar, and then we are initializing the key in the session state, adding the button, we are uploading the file, and when we upload the file and we convert it into a data frame, then is when the game starts, right? Then is when everything is built and generated. So that means that we are actually gonna move this in to this if statement, and then our pandas agent is gonna go here, and the same for the functions, and then we'll move this as well. So we have the pandas agent there. This is something that we already have, so we can remove this. Cool. And first function that I'm going to create is, after initializing the LLM model, we're going to create a function for creating the steps of the EDA. So that is going to be steps EDA, and then here is just going to be this bit, right? So the LLM is going to generate that, and that is not going to run again because we're going to decorate that with the cache data decorator. So let me show you how to do that. So here we are going to add this, And this is going to be called steps EDA, and then that is what we are going to return. Excellent. So this will be computed, and that's it. It will be computed again. Amazing. Then we have the Pandas agent, and then the function that is involving the Pandas agent. So let's put here a function sidebar, and then this is the function main. Excellent. So all this is running, and then it's time to add a header. Ooh. So first thing that we're doing is exploratory data analysis, right? So that will be a really good header. And then we're going to move the sidebar that involves the LLMs there, but now we're just going to write steps EDA. So what this function returns. Great. And then we are running the function agent, and then we have the user question, and let's add a subheader here. So let's say general information about the data set, and then here let's say variable of study. Okay, and finally we're gonna hash the function agent, so let's do that. Cool, so let's rerun and see what happens. Okay, so running function agent, this header and this subheader, the function agent is running. Okay, so now hopefully when we write volume here and we press enter, nothing runs again. Brilliant. So we have sorted out this issue of things running again and again by using caching in Streamlit. Okay, so coming back to this variable of study, what we're going to do is to create a function that does some exploratory data analysis, but is specific to this variable. And I think the first thing that will be interesting to show is a graph of this variable. Streamlit has a really good visualization properties, so we're going to make use of that to create a line chart. So we are going to add a function there. So first we hash the function, and then we're gonna call this a function. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna use the line chart from Streamlit, that is st.line_chart. What we're gonna pass is our data frame and then the user question variable. So did I call it user question? Okay, so user question variable, we're gonna call it. So if we actually, let's do this. If we actually run this, let's see what happens. So okay, I forgot that. Okay, rerun. Excellent. So you can see now a line chart of the variable volume. So now I'm going to use the Pandas agent the same way I did before to ask specific questions about this variable. But now instead of just writing questions, I write questions and I'll pass the user question variable so we can answer specific questions about this specific variable. So for example, imagine that what we want is to know the a summary of the statistics, right, of the user question variable. So we're going to ask summary statistics. So So for example, pandas agent dot run, and it's going to be give me a summary of the statistics of, and then we have the user question variable, and then we're going to use st.write to write this summary statistics. We're going to add other things like, for example, checking for normality, checking for outliers, checking for trends, and add all this to our function. Okay, so let's rerun and let's see what happens. Okay, so this has changed, so it's running again, and great, it's giving a summary of statistics of this variable. It's saying that the variable is not normal but is skewed to the right, and there is an outlier present. Great. And there is a cyclic pattern of increasing volume in the summer months, and there are 5 missing values of volume. In order to avoid issues in case the user enters an empty string, or there's no response and then we continue writing things, because that would definitely create a problem, what we're going to do is to write a couple of lines of code to sort that issue. So we're going to say that the user question variable is not none, and also if it's different than an empty string, then in that case is when we're going to run our function. And then we will continue writing our code after that. So it's not none. All right, and then for the next section, we're going to add a subheader that is going to be further study. So imagine now that the user wants to add specific questions that are not predefined in our app. So what we can do now is to create another text input in where the user can enter whatever question they want, and we're going to use this Pandas agent to answer this specific question. So first of all, if the question variable exists, then we're going to say user question data frame. So we're going to say here, is there anything else that you would like to know about the data frame? Okay, so that was our user question data frame. And now again, if I'm just gonna copy and paste this. So if the question is not none, and also if it's not empty, and also actually not in a empty string, or if they say, okay, I actually don't want to know anything else, I'm very happy with the information I've had so far. Imagine that happens. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna run a function that we're gonna create in a second. So this function is gonna be called function question and data frame. And in this function, what we're going to do is to ask the Pandas agent to answer this specific question. So again, and then we're going to create this function called function question data frame. Okay, so what is going to happen here is this extra information is going to be stored in this variable, and we're going to use the Pandas agent .run to answer specifically this user question data frame. And then I'm going to add a return, and I'm going to add a st.write in order to actually write the answer to this question. Cool. And then we have called this here. If the user is actually the user question data frame is actually no and or no, then we're just gonna add an empty string. Let's rerun. Okay, again, the colon. Let's rerun. Okay, so is there any strong correlation between some of the variables? Let's see what happens. Okay, so there is a strong correlation between open, high, low, close and add close, but not between volume in the other variables. Does the variable close have many peaks? And let's see what it says. Yes, the variable close has a peak of 77 point something. Cool, amazing. Okay, so that is all for this first video of the series, but what is next? You can continue your data exploration by asking more questions, selecting different variables, and seeking additional insights from our AI assistant. In the next video of this series, we will continue building our assistant. It will be able to help you in converting your business challenge into a data science framework, offering guidance on model selection, providing predictions, and more. We will introduce the concepts of chains and tools, and we will be exploring other agents. Make sure to download the completed project and sample data on the DigiLab Academy website, where you can also find more resources and courses on data science and AI. You can also find the written tutorial linked in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe to be updated with the latest tutorials and upcoming content. Thank you for joining me in this journey, and I can't wait to see you in the next part. Bye!